Something huge is happening in the world of finance, and it's all about how the big players see cryptocurrency. We're talking about BlackRock, the biggest asset manager on the planet. They just put out an outlook that basically flips the script on crypto, seeing it not as some wild bet, but as the very foundation of finance's future. So, let me ask you, when you hear the word crypto, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably volatility, right? Crazy price charts, huge risks. It's always been seen as the Wild West of finance, a playground for traders, not for serious, stable institutions. But then BlackRock drops this bombshell. They call it the financial systems plumbing. I mean, think about that. That's about as far as you can get from a risky bet. Plumbing isn't sexy, it isn't flashy, but it is absolutely essential. It's the hidden infrastructure that makes everything else work. So, what on earth do they mean by that? Well, it means we really have to start looking beyond the hype. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how BlackRock is seeing the real future of digital assets, a future that isn't just a theory, it's actually being built as we speak. And here's the most important part of their new outlook. BlackRock is completely changing the conversation. They're basically telling everyone, hey, stop obsessing over the price of Bitcoin and start paying attention to the tech underneath. It's a huge shift from focusing on value to focusing on utility. It's about what it does, not just what it's worth. So this brings us to crypto's new job description. It's not just some asset you trade anymore. Nope. It's actually evolving into a core piece of the financial system itself. And, this comparison says it all. The old view was all about speculative assets, price hype, risky bets. Now look at BlackRock's view. Financial plumbing, settlement systems, digital rails. We're moving from the language of chaos and gambling to the language of order and infrastructure. So what's the best example of this evolution? The clearest sign that crypto is growing up? Well, BlackRock points to one thing in particular, the rise of the stablecoin. You can think of it as the bridge that's finally connecting the old world of finance to the new. Now, if you're not totally sure what a stablecoin is, no worries. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a crypto token, but instead of its value jumping all over the place, it's designed to stay stable because it's pegged to a real-world asset, usually the good old US dollar. So one stablecoin is supposed to always be worth $1. Simple as that. Okay, so how does this whole bridge thing actually work? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. Stablecoins basically take traditional money, dollars in a bank account, and put a digital version of them onto these new networks. And what does that do? It lets money fly around the world way faster and cheaper, without all the middlemen you have in the old banking system. And that right there, that gets us to the absolute heart of BlackRock's whole argument. They have a perfect name for stablecoins, digital dollar rails. It's a great analogy, right? Just like railroad tracks made it possible to move goods across the country, these new digital rails are making it possible to move dollars all across the internet. Okay, but look, this all sounds great in theory, right? A nice idea from a big company. Let's get into the real-world proof that shows this isn't just an idea anymore. This shift from some niche tech to a mainstream financial tool is happening right now. Yeah, this isn't just some wild prediction. There are two huge proof points that show this trend is not only real, but it's picking up speed, fast. And they come from two very different but equally powerful places, the law and the market. First up, the law. Because let's be real, for any new tech to become actual, legit infrastructure, it has to get woven into the legal and regulatory fabric of the system. And that is precisely what's happening. So in the US, there's this bill called the Genius Act, and this is a game changer. It formally defines these payment stablecoins not as some weird crypto thing, but as regulated financial instruments. It lays out clear rules for things like reserves and audits, and it even limits who's allowed to issue them. So, what's the big takeaway from all this legal stuff? It's simple. Regulation is literally pulling stablecoins out of the shadows and putting them right at the legal core of the financial system. They're not a weird workaround anymore. They're becoming a recognized, regulated form of digital money. All right, proof point number 2 comes from the market itself. Because, you can write all the laws you want, but at the end of the day, the money has to follow. The big investors have to actually believe in it. And well, this number pretty much says it all. Circle, that's the company behind USDC, one of the biggest stablecoins, went public with a massive IPO. They raised over $1 billion. I mean, the signal here is just crystal clear. When the companies that are building this new plumbing can go to the public markets and raise that kind of cash, you know it is officially crossed over into the mainstream. All right, so let's just quickly pull all this together. What have we learned? First, the big institutional money, the BlackRock's of the world, they now see crypto's future as essential infrastructure. Second, stablecoins are the key piece of that puzzle. They're the digital dollar rails. And finally, this isn't just talk. We're seeing real regulation and huge market investment making it a reality right now. And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question to chew on. If these stablecoins, these digital dollars, really are the new rails for the financial system, if they're the new plumbing, what gets built on top of them next? What kind of new apps, new services, new economies are going to pop up on this foundation? That right there is the next chapter.